You learned how to be okay before you were old enough to know what okay even meant. Not because someone taught you. Because you had no other choice. And now, years later, you wonder why connection feels distant. Why you carry things quietly. Why you feel older than the room you're standing in. There's a reason for all of it. And it's not what most people think. You probably grew up feeling like an observer. While other kids fought over small things, you were already reading the emotional weather of the room. You noticed the tension before anyone spoke. You adjusted before anyone asked. People called you mature. They said it like a compliment. But maturity, when it comes too early, isn't a gift the child chose. It's a skill they built to survive an environment that asked too much of them too soon. Maybe the adults around you were unpredictable. Maybe you became the emotional anchor in your family. Maybe loss arrived before you had the language for it. Whatever it was. Some part of you learned that it wasn't safe to be a child. So you became something steadier. And that shows up now in ways you might not even recognize. You apologize for your needs before you voice them. You calculate how much of yourself to show people. You feel responsible for everyone's comfort except your own. You're generous, but guarded. Warm, but difficult to reach. You've been told you're hard to get close to. But the truth is, you've been close to very few people. Who actually showed up when it mattered. This isn't a personality flaw. It's a pattern. And patterns always have an origin. Here is what no one tells you about early maturity. It is one of the most sophisticated adaptations the human mind can make. When a child's environment is unstable, the brain doesn't shut down. It reorganizes. It prioritizes. It develops emotional intelligence, hyperawareness, and self-regulation. Years before the nervous system is technically built for it. You are not broken. You are someone whose brain built advanced architecture. Under difficult construction conditions. The walls are real. The structure holds. But some rooms were sealed off early. And you may have forgotten they exist. Here's what was actually happening inside your developing mind. The brain has a system called the default mode network. It's responsible for self-reflection, future thinking, and emotional processing. In children who experience chronic stress or emotional responsibility too young, this network activates earlier and more intensely than it should. The result? A child who thinks deeply about consequences. Who feels empathy almost painfully. Who monitors social dynamics the way most adults can't. But there's a cost. Psychologists call it parentification, a term for when a child takes on adult emotional roles. It rewires the nervous system toward vigilance. The stress response, particularly the amygdala, stays slightly elevated. Not in alarm, but in readiness. Always scanning. Always prepared. Think of it like a smoke detector. That was installed in a house that once had a fire. It works perfectly. It's just sensitive to things that aren't actually smoke. The mental model is this. Your younger self drew a map to stay safe. That map was accurate then. But you're still navigating a different life. With an old map. Not wrong. Just outdated. So how do you begin to update the map? Step 1, name the original adaptation. Ask yourself, what was the environment that required this version of me? This isn't about blame. It's about recognition. Neuroscience shows that labeling an experience reduces its emotional charge. Naming activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, which gently quiets the amygdala's threat response. In daily life, write one honest sentence about what your younger self was managing. Not to fix it. Just to see it clearly. Step 2, distinguish past signals from present reality. Early matures often respond to present relationships as if they carry the same stakes as past ones. This is called emotional generalization. The brain pattern matches current people to earlier threats. When someone is late to respond, and your stomach tightens. Pause and ask, is this person actually a threat, or does this feel familiar? That one question interrupts the old pattern. Before the nervous system completes its old response. Step 3. Practice receiving without deflecting. People who carried others early in life are often deeply uncomfortable being cared for. It feels unfamiliar. Even unsafe. But the brain learns safety through repetition. Each time you allow someone to help you, and nothing bad happens. The nervous system updates its prediction. Start small. Let someone pay for coffee. Let someone check in on you without saying you're fine. Tiny deposits of evidence. Over time, they rewrite the ledger. Step 4. Grieve the childhood you didn't fully get. This one is uncomfortable, but it matters. Developmental psychologists note that unprocessed loss tends to resurface as chronic low-level sadness or emotional numbness. You don't need to dramatize it. But you do need to acknowledge, something was asked of you too soon. That acknowledgement isn't weakness. It's the beginning of metabolizing something your system has been quietly carrying. Step 5. Redefine what safety feels like in relationships. Early maturers often confuse emotional distance with self-protection. They mistake intensity for connection. Healthy attachment isn't built on the absence of need. It's built on the safety to have needs. Notice the relationships where you can be a little less composed. A little less managed. Those are the ones worth investing in. Here's the one model to hold on to. You built a very good house under difficult weather. The foundation is solid. The craftsmanship is real. Now, the work is not demolition. It's renovation. Opening rooms that were sealed for safety. Letting in light that no longer needs to be rationed. You matured early because you were capable of it. That capability doesn't disappear. It just gets to serve you now, instead of only others. You've been carrying a kind of quiet weight for a long time. And you've carried it well. But weight wasn't meant to be permanent. It was meant to be set down. When the ground finally felt safe enough. Maybe that's what this is. Not a transformation. Not a breakthrough. Just the quiet, honest recognition. That the version of you who had to grow up fast did exactly what they needed to do. And now there's room to grow in a different direction. You were never behind. You were just carrying more than most people could see.
If this resonated, stay.